ahead of us. Major games going down tonight in both New York and in Denver. We have NHL playoffs. Are the Panthers going to advance past the Bruins? We'll dive into that. And of course, we've got some great baseball action to touch on. Every MLB team is in action today. One game already in the books. Tickets already cashed for us. But hopefully you guys are excited about the entire MLB slate that we have coming up this evening. And we are closing in on about 24 hours, 28 hours away from the NFL schedule for the 2024 season being revealed in its entirety. We're getting drips, we're getting little rumors out here, little reports about one game or another. We know a few of the matchups. We know Monday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers will return to the field in San Francisco against the 49ers. We know that obviously the season kicks off with the Chiefs playing their opening day game. But what we didn't know is now we know the first Thursday game of the year is going to be Bengals and Chiefs. So a lot of NFL news coming out. We obviously have a lot of sports bets to get to. So excited to have you with us. No matter the platform you're watching on, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, or Kick, no matter where you watch Butt Fumble Sports, we are so grateful for all of you joining us every day, taking time out of your day to watch our content. Make sure you follow, make sure you subscribe, and yes, B, hit that like button. We are so grateful for you guys back in Butt Fumble Sports. With that said, make sure you write your questions, your comments in the chat, because obviously we have a lot to get to today. We are going to use killersports.com. We're going to use Outlier to get some player prop bets up there. We're going to go through game picks, obviously, and we are going to give out picks of our own. Make sure you guys are with us. Zane, how's it going? Hope you're having a great day. Todd, how do you think about Tigers and Orioles parlay? So I love it. The only thing I saw kind of a crazy trend about the Miami Marlins, that they've won the 44th game of the season like 8 years in a row. I know that's a bizarre stat, but I saw it and it just kind of has my attention. But Todd, I do like Orioles and Tigers on a parlay. I do think that's a good one. In fact, a lot of you guys are actually asking me about putting together parlays and including that in the picks that we give out. If you guys ever want to see parlays that I actually bet every day, you can find them on the SHARPZ app. All of my picks are free. All my picks are available. All my picks are transparent. I know there are a lot of people on social media who do sports betting research and they charge for their picks. I think that's ludicrous. I think that's crazy. You guys work hard for your money, so I give away my picks for free. I do the research anyways. You guys, if you want to see which picks I'm going with, you guys can obviously check them out for free. All you have to do is DM me on Instagram. I'll give you a link and referral code so you can see every bet I make for free. Never behind a paywall. You never have to give me any money. They're never hidden. They're never deleted. A lot of transparency, because my attitude is you're a sports fan just like me, trying to get the most out of your sports viewing experience every day. If I can contribute to that in any way, I'm all about it. I do like Dodgers on the money line tonight. Todd, I did Phillies, Orioles, Tigers. Well, I love that Philly play. Felt good about that with Aaron Nola on the mound. I got another lock. B likes the Marlins. Is that what you're saying? Or a hit prop? Let us know, B, what the hit prop you like. Jack is asking about Pacers and Knicks. First things first, I am going to put my first pick on the board right now. I'm taking the Knicks on the money line. Knicks on the money line is going to be the first pick that I go with today. Let's dive into some of the research behind this game to show you guys why I am going with the Knicks for tonight's Indiana Pacers New York Knicks game. The line has now moved. This opened at 2.5, 3 points. It's since moved. Let's make sure we're checking the injury report if there's anything there that stands out. Tyrese Halliburton is a game-time decision with the back. No question he's going to play. OG Anunoby is out for tonight's game. He's most likely out for the rest of the series, so obviously that stands out. As I mentioned, this opened at minus 2.5, then went to 2. Now it's at 1.5. So the money's coming down on the Pacers. In fact, 73% of the tickets are on the Knicks to win. 72% of the money is on the Pacers to win. Normally, when I see that discrepancy, I tend to follow the money. But I saw a trend that I got to go with. I posted this one up on Instagram earlier today as well on our Twitter account. When the Knicks play the Pacers, at home as a favorite, and the line is less than -5, less than or equal to -5. Let's date this back. I'm dating this all the way back to 2010. This is a long trend. The Knicks are 9-0 straight up and 9-0 against the spread in their last 9 games against the Pacers at Madison Square Garden as a favorite when the line is 5 points or less as it is tonight. That really stands out to me. That's just something I can't ignore. The history favors the Knicks. I think the Knicks also coming off back-to-back losses has my attention. Now, if I look at this trend, the under's a better play, but this may not be the best trend. This is better for money line and against the spread. May not be for a total, but again, to repeat the trend that I just researched right in front of you guys, it's the Knicks are 9-0 straight up and 9-0 against the spread when they've played the Pacers since 2010 as a home favorite of 5 points or less, 5 points or fewer. So like tonight, the Knicks are a favorite by just 1 point right now, 1.5 points, 2 points in some places. That falls into the trend we just looked at, and the Knicks have owned this rivalry over the last decade and a half almost, so I'm going to believe in that one. Now, let's get back to the research around the total, because that's the question we were just asked about. That's obviously going to be one that's a bit more recent focused or more a recency bias here as we're going to focus. Let's take a look at the Pacers. Pacers on the road coming off of a win. So far this year, 8-15. The under is 15-8, I should say. By the way, if we're looking at the data overall, Pacers on the road after a win, they have just one win in their last 8 games. The last time they had back-to-back wins in this scenario was back in March 22nd. So that certainly stands out. Under might seem like a better play. How about when they're a road underdog so far this year? 6-8, so the over is a slightly better play. But that's obviously kind of front-loaded by the November, December, and January games. Well, actually, they've been better on the over of late. I got burned by the total in Game 4, so I'm probably not going to play this one myself. I just want to flip it around. When the Pacers are on 1 day of rest, their opponent is on 1 day of rest, and they're an away dog. Anything we could take from that. The over has actually been a better play. This one is going back and forth, looking at the total. Nothing that I'm seeing, at least from a Pacers side. How about the Knicks? When they play an opponent on 1 day of rest, when they're on 1 day of rest, home favorite, under 11-7. Again, good trend towards the Knicks winning this game. Certainly stands out. How about when the Knicks have had a total of less than, the total for tonight's game is 217. When they've had a total less than 218, over's been a slightly better play. How about when the total is less than 218 and they're a home favorite? Again, over's been a slightly better play. I just wouldn't touch the total. I feel like this is a very tough game to predict in terms of the total. Now, there are a couple of picks I do like when it comes to a player prop bet. I'm going to bring up Jalen Brunson right now, and I'm warning you guys, this has been an incredibly consistent trend, so maybe it's finally time that it breaks. But I got to tell you the trends that I'm aware of, because normally those are the best bets. Jalen Brunson doesn't get 7 assists against the Pacers. It's just become a fact of life. Jalen Brunson, in his last 9 games against the Pacers, has not reached 7 assists. Hasn't happened. 9 games played against the Pacers since December of 2022. 9 games where he's gone 6 assists or fewer. His total for tonight's game is 6.5 assists. The Pacers are the #1 defense against point guards in assists allowed. So, great defense he's going up against. He has never done this in his last 9 meetings against the Pacers. And if I just look at home in the last 10 games, he's reached 7 assists or more 5 times, but he hasn't in his last 4 games. I'm putting this one up on the board. For those that were asking about it earlier, maybe you guys want a same game parlay. I have already made this a same game parlay for me today. Knicks on the money line. Jalen Brunson under 6.5 assists. Do I think he gets his points? Yes, I do. Do I think he gets assists? No, I do not. I also mentioned in a post that I had earlier today, Obi Toppin If you can find Obi Toppin over 1.5 blocks plus steals, that is a really good play as well. Obi Toppin over half a block plus steals. Really quick the way I found it, I went to Outlier. I found bets that have been very consistent head-to-head, very consistent over the last few weeks of play. And that was one that stood out, was Obi Toppin as well. It's since moved, so it might be hard to find in some places, but definitely stands out. Obi Toppin over half. There you go. Obi Toppin over half a steal plus block. You could get that at minus 175 right now on DraftKings. You heard that correct. This guy has played the Knicks as a pacer 7 times. He's gone over this total every time. I'm going to put this on my board as well. Obi Toppin over half a block plus a steal. So as long as he gets one, we're in the money. Those are a few of the NBA player prop bets that I'm really into right now. I do have one more that I'm going to bring up before I get back to your questions. It has to do with Anthony Edwards. Now, I took this last night. Anthony Edwards specifically on points. Guy's a killer. Guy's a dog. Guy's a beast. Right now, his over-under on points is 29.5. Opened at 30.5, came down to 29.5. The matchup, not great. That said, on the road against the Nuggets, what's been consistent is him reaching 25 points. So in a lot of parlays today, I'm warning you guys, this is not an individual ticket play. This is a part of a lot of parlays, like Jalen Brunson under on assists, like the Knicks to win, other ones. I'm taking Anthony Edwards over 24.5 points. Again, one more B on Obi Toppin. Anthony Edwards over 24.5 points, and that's a parlay play for me. It's a parlay play. It's not on its own. It's not a good enough ticket. But for some of those bets that are like minus 175 that I want to move closer to even money, that could be a good bet to pair with those in a 2-3 leg parlay that has a really good chance of cashing. Anthony Edwards has reached 25 points in 9 of his last 10 road games, in 17 of his last 20 road games. If we're looking overall, he's gone over this total in 6 of his last 8 games played overall, and specifically, again, against the Nuggets, he's gone over 20. He's reached 25 points in 11 of his last 17 games against them, specifically in Denver, 6 straight games against them. So do I think he reaches 30 points? On the fence about it. Do I think he reaches 25? Yes, I do, and I'm including that in some parlays. Let's get back to some questions. Z Boogie is asking about Pascal Siakam over on 20 points. Let's take a look at Pascal Siakam, everybody. Doing our research. If you guys miss any of the bets we give out, just DM me on Instagram. We give away our picks for free. Now, what's really important to note here, he's really struggled actually in terms of scoring against the Knicks. The only game over his last 6 meetings against the Knicks where he's reached 20 points was game 3. Was game 3. Prior to that, he hadn't had a 20-point game against them at all. That includes 4 straight games at Madison Square Garden where he has failed to reach 20 points. In fact, over his last 20 road games, he has only gotten 20 points 9 times. Or more than 20 points, I should say. Now, this opened at 19.5 and went to 20.5, has since worked its way down. I understand this is a decent matchup, but honestly, I'm kind of worried about it because Pascal Siakam, now maybe you say it's the OG Anunoby factor, but he's only reached 21 points in 3 of his last 10 games, only 1 of his last 8. So Z Boogie, I'm not as big on Pascal Siakam reaching 21 points or reaching 20 points. I tend to avoid that one. Can we talk about Nuggets on the money line? Okay, so really quick, let's focus on where the money's coming down on this game. Timberwolves and Nuggets. 85% of the tickets are on the Nuggets to win. 78% of the tickets, or 78% of the money is on the Nuggets to win. The money is also favoring the Nuggets to cover the spread. It's a 4.5-point spread. I was doing my research for this one last night, and you may be surprised where I came out on the data. If I look at the Timberwolves, when they're coming off of back-to-back losses so far this season, the Nuggets are 4-0 straight up they're 3-1 on the spread, okay? So that's after back-to-back losses, all right? What if just after one loss, when they're then on the road? When the Nuggets are coming off when the Timberwolves are coming off a loss and then their next game's on the road, they're 10-1 straight up, 10-1 straight up, 9-2 on the spread. You may go, okay, what games did they? The game they lost? What was the case? They played the Lakers in that game. That was back on March 10th. Who didn't play? Oh, Karl Anthony Towns didn't play, and Rudy Gobert didn't play. So with at least Rudy Gobert or Karl Anthony Towns in the lineup, this is an undefeated team on the road after a loss. Now, stands out to me. I'm not saying it's a guaranteed win by any means. You know I'll never say something's a lock. But this team's been very good at responding throughout the season. Certainly stands out to me. Now, Timberwolves, let's take a look at how they've done against the Nuggets so far this year, actually. That was something I dove into last night, specifically against the Nuggets. The two teams are 4-4 so far this year against one another. But how about when the game is played in Denver? The Timberwolves are actually 3-1 when these two teams play in Denver, and they're 3-1 against the spread as well. The only time that the Nuggets beat the Timberwolves in Denver this year, both teams were on the second night of a back-to-back. So when the Timberwolves have any rest at all, they're undefeated this season in Denver. The under has also been 3-0 in those circumstances. Those things just stand out to me. Timberwolves coming off a loss, going on the road. Timberwolves going to Denver hasn't been a problem. So I personally kind of like the Nuggets. I like the Timberwolves to cover. Now, Timberwolves, when the total has been less than 210 so far this year. Timberwolves, when the total has been less than 210, 5-3 straight up, 5-3 towards the over. I'm just playing with some of the trends right now, seeing if anything stands out. When the line has been less than 5 so far this season, and the Timberwolves have been a dog, 9-8 straight up, 9-8 against the spread. Not great. How about a road dog under those circumstances? They actually have a losing record, 7-8, but 8-7 against the 7-8 against the spread as well. So, kind of some interesting lack of data here. I like the Timberwolves coming off the loss, but in terms of this line, very new to the Timberwolves and not one they've necessarily performed well with. How about the Nuggets? Let's get into some of the data behind the Nuggets. When the Nuggets are coming off back-to-back wins so far this year, and then they're at home after those back-to-back wins, they're 13-5 straight up, 6-11 against the spread, though. So the Nuggets have not been a very good cover team after back-to-back wins when then they're at home. Kind of an interesting note there. If we dive into it a little bit more, when they're on at least one day of rest under that scenario, 8-2 straight up, 3-6-1 against the spread. If we take both teams on one day of rest, 5-2 against the 5-2 straight up, 1-6 against the spread. Let me repeat that. You may have missed what I was saying. So we just plugged into killersports.com. How have the Nuggets done this season when they're coming off back-to-back wins? They're playing at home, and both the Nuggets and their opponent have one day of rest, exactly one day of rest. The Nuggets, under those circumstances, the circumstances they have tonight, they're 5-2 straight up, but they're 1-6. 1-6 against the spread. In fact, they have a 6-game losing streak against the spread. The only time they covered the spread was against the Pelicans back in November 6th. So at the very beginning of the season, other than that, they have failed to cover the spread every time. Now, their average margin of difference is 4 points. What's the spread right now? 4 points. So I like the Timberwolves to cover. I said it a moment ago. I like it now, but I'm not going to take it at the 4 or the 4.5. That feels a little tight to me. What I actually bet last night, I took Timberwolves plus 6.5 and plus 7. I'm going to ride with that one tonight as well. So I'll put that one up on the board. That's Timberwolves plus 6.5 plus 7. Those are the bets I made on the Timberwolves and the Nuggets game. Not taking a money line play on that one. I feel like it could go either way, but I like the Timberwolves to cover. based on the trends, based on the data that we're looking at. As for the total, the under's been a very good play for the Nuggets under the circumstances we just looked up. If we flip it back over, I'm just curious to know how these two teams have kind of done with a total this low. Timberwolves, when they've had a total less than 210 points throughout the entire season, 5-3 straight up, 4-4 against the spread. The over's gone 5-3. How about the Nuggets? When the Nuggets have had a total of less than 210 points so far this year, only happened 6 times, 4-2 straight up, 3-3 against the spread, 4-2 towards the over. I'm not going to bet the total. Total feels like a bit of a trap. Don't know how this one's going to go, but I certainly feel like this is an opportunity, one, to take Anthony Edwards to reach 25 points and the Timberwolves to cover 6.5. The combination of the two, nice same game parlay for a bunch of you guys out there. Brett, you know what's really interesting? The 2 NBA games tonight have some really cool trends to them. In the Timberwolves and Nuggets series, the road team has won every game. And obviously, in the other series, the home team has won every game. And the Pacers are actually winless on the road, undefeated at home. So a lot to kind of take away from tonight's home road splits, Brett. Really great call by you. Matt, Andrew Nembhard, over half a 3. Yes. It's been a very consistent trend. Don't know if I feel the same way about Alec Burks, but Nembhard, I absolutely agree with you. For those asking about where you can find my big board, we're broadcasting right now, not just on TikTok, where obviously you just see me on your screen, but we're also on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. So if you guys want to jump on over to those platforms, you can see every bet that we're putting up on the board, as well as the research we're doing live during the show. So we're using the research platforms that we use, diving into the trends, looking at the lineups, looking at the matchups, and trying to get a sense of the best bets. If you want to follow along with us, just go to YouTube, Twitch, or Kick, Butt Fumble Sports. You can find us on all 3 of those. On TikTok, obviously, I'm just talking to the screen because I don't like the throw it up behind me thing. It's just, it's too much. Anyways, if you do want to get all of my bets every single day, DM me on Instagram, Butt Fumble Sports. DM me on Instagram. I give away all of my picks for free every day. I never charge you for them. They're never behind a paywall. I never delete them. So if you guys ever want to see the bets that I'm making every day for free, all you have to do is DM me on Instagram. I'll hook you up with a link and a referral code for the SHARPZ app. SHARPZ like a bulletin board for sports bettors. Every bet that I make, regardless of the platform, regardless of the type of bet, it automatically goes to SHARPZ so you can see every single one. All you got to do is DM me on Instagram. Someone's asking about Reggie Jackson over on anytime threes. Let's take a look at it. I'll admit just from the start, not a bet that I'm going to be going with. I don't care how good it is. Just not a player that I really want to bet on. I do have kind of rules for myself as I do sports betting about are there certain players or certain things I just don't want to go with. Reggie Jackson, I know he's got a decent trend on a few things here, but not consistent enough as a player, and certainly not when it comes to minutes for me to get behind. Now, he is a point guard. Bad note to start, the Timberwolves are the #1 defense when it comes to three-pointers by point guards, so a very good defense that goes against him. He does have a three-pointer in 4 of his last 5 games against the Timberwolves, so that's a great no. However, and 4 games at home, so he has a three-pointer in 4 straight games. Gavin, certainly the trends are pointing in the right direction. He has a three-pointer in 9 of his last 10 games at home overall, 16 of his last 20 games. Gavin Martinez, as I mentioned a moment ago, this one's not going to find my big board, but it is a very good bet. So guys, I'm not going to bet it myself, but Reggie Jackson over half a three-pointer made, good bet. Jalen over 4.5 assists. Trench baby, I'm already taking Jalen Brunson under 6.5 assists, so I'm not going to be on both sides of this one. Someone is asking me about no run in the first inning for baseball. I could see no run in the first inning. So, Anthony, no run in the first inning for baseball. These are the ones that I like so far. Nationals and White Sox game 2. Nationals, White Sox game 2. No run in the first inning. Nationals, White Sox game 2. no run in the first inning. Cubs, Braves, no run in the first inning. Cubs and Braves, I know it's a risk. I think there's going to be no run in the first inning for Cubs and Braves as well. Any other games that I think there's going to be no run in the first inning? I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence about Royals and Mariners, but I'm not going to give that one out. So, Nationals, White Sox game 2, and the other one is Cubs and Braves. Those are the two that I think no run in the first inning. C, I'm taking Knicks on the money line. Knicks on the money line. Justin thinks Reds game, no run in the first inning. That's one that I don't agree with. I think that's a coin flip, no run in the first inning. I'm not going to go with it. What's a good pick for up 2? Nat. What's a good pick for up 2? I don't... explain that question for me. Sorry. John Ortiz. Let's get to John Ortiz's question. John's asking about Chris Paddock over 4.5 strikeouts. Let's jump on over to that. Thanks, Martin. Appreciate the support. Looking at Chris Paddock, you're asking about over 4.5 strikeouts. Over the last 4 starts, he's hit this 3 times, specifically at home. 4 straight games he's hit this at home, actually. So a great note. So far at home this year, Chris Paddock, 4 straight games of reaching 5 strikeouts. John, just based on the data that we're able to look at, it's a good play. I got to agree with it so far. I'd go with it, John. Username, Marlins, Tigers game, money line. So I mentioned this one to you guys earlier. I like the Tigers. But there was something I saw on social media earlier today that had me spooked. And normally I'm not this kind of person, but it's from an account that I follow that actually has been pretty good on these kind of like, it's bizarre, but it comes true kind of stats. He went back and he looked at the Marlins are something like, it's even crazier than I said earlier in the show. The Marlins are something like 17-0 on game 44 of a season. So like each year, game 44 of the season, for whatever reason, this guy likes to look up just random stats and random things with no rhyme or reason to them. But the Marlins are 17-0 over the last 17 years playing game number 44. Tonight is game number 44. I took the Tigers earlier in the day. I'm taking Tigers. I'm not gonna sugarcoat what I already had as my bet. I did take Tigers on the money line, but I'm letting you guys know there's a little reason for me to feel queasy about it. So I will put that one up on the big board. I am taking Tigers on the money line. I am also taking Orioles on the money line. 2 bets for MLB that I am putting up on the board. Tigers money line and Orioles money line. Danny Dice, Red Sox first 5. I'm not touching the Red Sox, that is for sure. Not touching the Red Sox against the Rays. I know they probably have a better opportunity, to your point, to cover those first 5 innings, but I just don't have enough faith in them right now. Rangers first 5 on the money line. That's a very interesting one. That one I feel better about. I am a little bit nervous about Jack Leiter, starting pitcher of the Rangers. He had a really bad debut for them, but I do like Rangers first 5 on that one. Danny Dice, certainly feel good about that. Interesting that you're taking the Giants to cover the first 5. I think that's actually one of the smarter plays I've seen so far today. So Danny Dice, really good picks so far. I love what I'm seeing from him. Danny Dice, bravo to you. Some really good picks. Want to call out those who make some good picks and certainly applaud the effort. Arctic Tiger, great to see you, Arctic Tiger. Hope you're having a great day. You're asking about the Brewers on the money line. This is a game I'd avoid. This feels like a coin flip. In particular, it's because Joe Ross gives up a lot of runs. Both these pitchers give up a lot of runs. I just wouldn't touch it. Feels like this could be a high offense game. I could see this going over its run total. Right now, the over is set at 8.5. Over under set at 8.5. Pirates and Brewers, that feels like a good overplay. That is definitely one that I'd be keeping my eye on for an over. So that's one of the reasons I'm not particularly interested in betting the game. I'm more interested in betting the total. I would take the over in that one. Over in Pirates and Brewers. If I could, I would take the over at over 8, minus 125. I'll even put that one up on the board for you guys. That's Pirates and Brewers over 8. Caitlin Clark, 20 points. First things first, if you're not excited about Caitlin Clark's debut, I feel bad for you because it means there's one less sporting event that you're not getting excited about that the rest of us are. Outlier actually does have WNBA data. Now, obviously, Caitlin Clark, she doesn't have a history. She's playing some preseason games, doesn't have any regular season data. I'm not going to bet it for just that reason because I don't know anything about her style of play, how the WNBA is going to try to cover her, guard her. That said, I would take a lot of unders. I would take under on points tonight, and I'd take over on assists. If there's anything I'm kind of hearing from those who are more in the know about the WNBA, they think she's going to be a facilitator early, that she's going to try and shoot her threes, but more often than not, she's going to try and find teammates and actually make a positive impact that way. Again, that's just from people I listen to and kind of try to pick up data from. But there's no data we can actually sink our teeth into, so I'm going to avoid betting on Caitlin Clark tonight. I love the fact that the WNBA is getting so much attention. They are getting so much money bet on the Fever game. It is the number one sporting event with the one that has the most money on it tonight across all sports is this WNBA Fever Sun game. That's crazy. Like, think about that. We have NBA playoffs. We have NHL playoffs. We have MLB going on. But no, it's a WNBA game that has the most money right now of any sporting event when it comes to sports betting today. That is awesome. Awesome. And it also tells you why, if you're not on board with the WNBA, you're going to get left behind because a lot of people are going to find out this is a great way of getting in some extra sports betting or some extra sports watching. That said, again, I'll probably avoid Caitlin Clark's point total tonight. I do like her over on assists. I think she's just going to be more involved. I also think she's got better teammates for scoring purposes than she had at Iowa, and you saw how good a passer she was there. So if you told me tonight that she knocked down 2 threes but only got 17 or 18 points, I'd agree with that. That sounds about right. But if you told me that she went for double-digit assists, I'd go, yeah, I could believe that as well. Cubs and Braves over 8 runs. That's a crazy one for me. I'm surprised you're actually looking at the over for that one. Cubs and Braves, Jamison Tyone, Chris Sale. I like the under a little bit more. Now, 8 runs, I try to move that up as much as I could because the 8 runs is a little bit lower than I want to take it at. But if I could take it at 8.5, that feels like a better spot. Really quick, let's look at Braves and Cubs. At least the money coming down on it. 89% of the money is coming down on the over 8. So I like the under personally, but again, that's more based on the pitching matchup. I take under 9. You're taking over 8. Well, then you might as well take the over 7.5. They're offering it at 7.5 for minus 120 on ESPN Bet, minus 125 on BetMGM, minus 125, 127 on DraftKings. Personally, I'd take the over 7.5 if you want to make it safe. Orioles minus 1.5. Let's take a look at some quick trends on it. I didn't bet it myself. I just took the Orioles on the money line, put it into some parlays. But let's do our research on that and see if Orioles to cover on the run line is a good bet. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. If you guys miss any of our picks that we give out during the show, just DM me on Instagram. I give away all of my picks for free. They're never behind a paywall. So if you ever just want to access my picks and see what they are every single day for free, just DM me on Instagram and I'll be happy to share them with you. We're going to look at the Orioles right now. Orioles, and specifically coming off a loss. So far this year, they're 10-3 straight up coming off a loss. They are 7-6 on the run line, so they haven't been nearly as good covering the spread when they are coming off a loss. When they're a home favorite coming off a loss this year, they're 6-2 straight up. Yeah, yesterday was only their second loss so far this year under that scenario. One of the reasons we bet the Orioles yesterday. They are 5-3 on the run line in that case. Yesterday, again, being one of the 3 times where they failed to cover that run line, but not what I really wanted to see from that. Let's go over to Kyle Bradish. Kyle Bradish is the starting pitcher tonight. Kyle Bradish. How has Kyle Bradish done this year? Just 2 starts, 2-0. They're 1-1 on the run line. How about last year? How did the Orioles do with Kyle Bradish on the mound? 19-12, 17-14 against the spread. They only won one of his last 5 starts, though, to end the year. Let's flip it around. Starting pitcher for the Blue Jays tonight is Chris Bassett. So far this, sorry, I got to go back to this year now. So far this season when Chris Bassett pitches, Blue Jays are 3-5 straight up, 3-5 on the run line. Based on the starters, nothing stands out there. Orioles, let's say, at home. And let's say the total is less than 8.5. Yeah, nothing that really gets me excited about the Orioles minus 1.5. So, Brian, I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I'm saying I'm not seeing it. There's nothing right now that has me attracted to it. Let's flip it over. Maybe the Blue Jays. Maybe there's some trends on their side of things that are a little bit better. On the road with a total less than 8.5. 6-6 straight up, 7-5 on the run line. How about on the road after a win in the previous day's game? This is a trend that kind of speaks to your minus 1.5. It really actually speaks to my Orioles on the money line. Here's a trend, everyone, that you're going to love. Thanks, Diego. Here's a trend you're going to love. The Blue Jays coming off a win this year when they're on the road, 1-7 straight up, 1-7 straight up, 2-6 on the run line. So, Brian, there you go. We finally found a trend that backs your Orioles minus 1.5. I don't like the lack of consistency there. I say to you guys, I don't just want one trend in my favor. I want a constellation of variables all pointing me in the same direction. We really don't have that, at least for the run line. Orioles on the money line, feel very, very good about, but I don't feel great about the run line there. As a quick recap of the picks we've given out so far during the show, going to the MLB first, baseball picks first, we have Tigers on the money line, Orioles on the money line, Pirates and Brewers over 8 runs, Pirates and Brewers over 8 runs. I'm also taking the Rangers on the money line. I am taking the Rangers on the money line. I know it's a bit of a risk. I am taking the Astros on the money line. Astros on the money line. Got another AL West team for you as well. I'm taking Mariners on the money line. So I'm pretty heavily loaded on the AL West this evening. But those are 6 MLB picks we've given out so far. Tigers on the money line. Orioles on the money line. Rangers on the money line. Astros on the money line, Mariners on the money line, and Pirates Brewers over 8 runs. For the NBA, the picks we have for tonight's games, we're taking Knicks on the money line, Timberwolves plus 6.5 plus 7. So Knicks to win, Timberwolves to cover 6.5. We also have Jalen Brunson under 6.5 assists, Obi Toppin over half a block or a steal, and Anthony Edwards over 24.5 points. Those are the picks we've put up on the board so far. If you guys ever miss any of our picks, just DM me on Instagram, ButtFumble Sports. Kyle Klein, if I'm putting it on the board, the confidence level is pretty high. Have you heard the Marlins 44th game trend? JP, I was talking about it a little while ago. 17 straight years in a row, the Marlins have won the 44th game of the year. So maybe you want to avoid the Tigers today. Might be the case. Kyle Klein, you're asking about Nationals over the White Sox. For Game 1, yes. Game 1 already underway. I feel like Game 1, yes. Game 2, less of a confidence level on that. El Pinche is going with Pacers on the money line. Thinks the Knicks have too many injuries. Dante, I like the Astros on the money line. Dante, Astros on the money line. Zachary DiVincenzo decided not to. The 25 points was too high. I researched it earlier. Don't really like it. Feels like it's just too many points to ask from him. If you want to take it over 21, I could maybe see that. 25 feels like an astronomical number, just given how he's been playing. Edwards is 29.5. AC, I know. That's why I said it was an alternative line for those who wanted to put in some parlays. Isaiah Hartenstein under on assists. Landon, let's go check out your pick, your player prop bet question. Isaiah Hartenstein on assists. Again, for those that are new to the show, make sure you DM me on Instagram, ButtFumbleSports on Instagram, to get every bet that I make every day for free. Never charge you, or never behind a paywall. I just love talking sports, so why not give my picks away for free? Now this opened, Hartenstein, it opened at 4.5 assists. It's since come down to 3.5. It's actually been a pretty good trend against the Pacers. The over has. At home, it's been a good play as well. I know over the last 10 games it hasn't. I'm not touching this, Landon. I'm not touching this. I'm nervous about this one. Wouldn't touch it. Wouldn't touch it. Probably part of that is a lot of his assists are kind of credited on little short passes to Brunson, who just knocks down his floaters, knocks down his three-pointers. I'm not going to touch this one. Don't feel good about it. So why force a bet that I don't really like? AC, appreciate it. By the way, I didn't put that Cubs and Pirates on the big board. So if that's the one you didn't like, then you're in agreement with the big board. Ty likes the Minnesota Timberwolves to win. I like the Timberwolves to cover. I'm not saying I don't like them to win. I'm saying I'm kind of on the fence. So I'm being a little Humpty Dumpty right now and just sitting my ass on the fence. But what I would say is every trend we looked at really does favor the Timberwolves at least covering 6.5 points. So to get them at that spot, I think it's really favorable. Again, I'll throw them into some parlays with baseball, with hockey, with other things. Speaking of which, I'm originally from Massachusetts, and if you guys ever wonder if I am overly biased in favor of my teams, tonight will certainly be an example of me not being that case, because I've got the Florida Panthers on the money line. I think the Florida Panthers end this series with the Bruins. We'll get into some trends in a moment, but the money's coming down on the Panthers. 86% of the tickets, Panthers to win. 85% of the money, Panthers to win. As for the spread, not only are the Panthers almost even on tickets bet on the spread, they are actually getting 77% of the money. And I don't think that's a bad idea, actually. Panthers could easily cover this game. Let's dive into it a little bit. I want to really pull up, as long as killersports.com allows me to, I just want to pull up the history between these two teams over the last few seasons. So since the start of 2022, when the Panthers, if I could spell correct, when the Panthers have played the Bruins, regardless of location, 9-10, okay. How about when the Panthers are a favorite? Panthers have been a favorite 8 times. Interesting. It's 4-4. The Panthers have won their last 3 straight games as a favorite, though, against the Bruins. Interesting note there. How about when the Panthers are at home? Panthers at home. Wow. Actually have a losing record against the Bruins in that time. 4-5. You know what has been a very good trend between these two teams, though? The over. The over has been a very good bet between these two teams. I actually think the Panthers, again, -1.5 might not be a bad idea, but I certainly like over 5 goals. Bruins, Panthers, over 5 goals. This has hit in 7 of the last 10 games for the Panthers. When the Panthers are at home, it's been a decent play. I just like the over 5. It's been very consistent. I'm going to put that one up on the board as well. Didn't bet that one yet today, so I'll have to go make a plan to bet that. Bruins, Panthers, over 5. Could I see that being a push? Yes. But I don't think there are only going to be 4 goals in this game, in part because I think the Panthers could blow this out. I could see the Panthers winning 4-2, 5-2. I think the Panthers win and win big. I'll take them on the money line. But again, Panthers -1.5 certainly has my attention. Panthers coming off back when they've had 3 wins in a row. Kind of curious just about so far this season when they've had 3 wins in a row. 19-7 straight up. How about when they're at home after winning their last 3 games? Wow, 7-3 straight up. Interestingly enough, the under's been amazing. So when they have a 3-game winning streak, the under has been amazing when they play at home. Again, I'm still going to rock with the over because I love the matchup against these two teams in terms of points. But kind of interesting, the trend kind of split on us there. Canucks Oilers, what do you think? So jumping over to that game, This is a tough one because I thought the Oilers were going to play much better in that last game and they lost. So the money's coming down on the Canucks right now. 78% of the tickets are on the Oilers, but 46% of the money is on the Canucks. Canucks are getting 78% of the tickets to cover the spread, 67% of the money. Really quick, let's just dive into some trends. Coming off a win, then being a road dog. The Canucks so far this year, The Canucks so far this year off a win as a road dog, 8-5 straight up. Over's gone 9-3, 9-3-1, not bad. I'm just kind of curious. When they've had a line equal to or greater than 170. Wow, it's only happened twice this year, both against the Oilers and both cashed. So far this year, the Canucks have been an underdog of 170 on the line only twice. Tonight will be the third time. All three of them have come against the Oilers. They won the previous two. Both of those games were 4-3. So if I'm just going off of history, I'll take Canucks. I'll take Oilers to go to the over. Canucks, Oilers, I'll take the over on this one. It's at 6.5 right now. I'll take the over 6, make it a flat line. I can get over 5.5 actually at minus 170. So I'm going to take over 5.5 for Canucks and Oilers. And frankly, you could get me to go with Canucks to cover the spread. I think Canucks plus 1.5. That's the play that I like the most. So I'll put that one on the board as well. Canucks plus 1.5 on the goal line. So we have 4 NHL picks on the board. Panthers on the money line. Bruins, Panthers over 5. Over 5. Canucks, Oilers over 5.5. That's over 5.5. Canucks plus 1.5 on the goal line. So, those are the NHL picks we're going to rock with this evening. Appreciate you guys being with us. Someone's asking about Kyle Bradish on strikeouts. Let's get back to some MLB player prop bet. Earlier, he was a good play on his strikeouts. How about Kyle Bradish reaching 6 strikeouts? It's been very hit or miss. At home has not been a very good trend. In fact, he's only gone over 5.5 strikeouts in 2 of his last 7 games at home. Head-to-head against the Blue Jays, just one time in his last 2 starts. That came up in Toronto. Over his last 20 home games, he's only hit this 6 times. I would say avoid it. I don't like the play. So big dog, just not about it. Not one that I'm seeing the trends supporting, so I'll tend to avoid that. Dondre, with the first overall pick in the NBA draft, the Hawks select an upcoming quarterback. They select Michael Penix Jr. That's who the Atlanta Hawks are going to select. Yankees and Twins, not betting it. Yankees and Twins, I'm not going to bet that game. None of the trends that I looked at really supported it. Really quick though, actually, I'm kind of curious about this. So I'm just kind of curious. Let's do some history. Team Yankees, opposing team Twins. How have the Yankees done in Minnesota, let's say since 2021? Since 2021, the Yankees, when they've gone to Minnesota, they're just 5-4 straight up, 5-4 against the spread. One interesting note here. So the Yankees have played 9 games in Minnesota since 2021. The over is 7-1-1. Over has been a very good play when the Yankees have gone to Minnesota. Just kind of an interesting note. I'm not necessarily saying that's what you would or should bet. Chris Paddock on the mound, Carlos Rodon on the mound for the Yanks. Let's just do some research now about this year, huh? How about the Yankees? When they're on 1 day of rest, the Yankees so far this year, 2-1 straight up. The under is 2-1. How about first game of a series? Yankees first game of a series so far this year, 8-5, but the under is 10-2-1. The under is 10-2-1 when the Yankees play the first game of a series so far this year. How about when they're on the road? First game of a series, the under is 5-1-1. So the under's been a very good play. First game of a series. How about the Twins this year? First game of a series for the Twins. When they play at home, the under is 5-1. Guys, the under, the under, the under. I know that we just looked a moment ago at the history. Yankees have played very, very well offensive baseball in Minnesota. But based on these two teams, how they play to start a series, the under's the better play. Let's take a look at that one on Outlier to see if the money's backing that one up. Yankees and Twins, the over is getting 93% of the money, so maybe you don't want to go with it. But I wouldn't take over 8. I wouldn't take under 8.5. This opened at 8, went to 8.5. I would take like under 9.5. Under 9.5 is minus 175. I might do that. I'm not going to put it on the board, but just some trends to be thinking about. Jay, I don't think Caitlin Clark and Jokic both get to 25 points, but it's a fun parlay. Ty, Oilers Canucks over 5.5. Love it, love it, love it. Red light, I'm not going to bet Caitlin Clark's point total. Feel like it's a bit of a trap. If I were to bet anything tonight, I actually might go with her over on assists. I think she could find her teammates a little bit more than what the sportsbook knows. Jennifer, what percentage of money is on the Dodgers to win? What percentage of money is on the Dodgers to win? Tonight, 97% of the money is on the Dodgers to win. 97% of the money on the Dodgers to win. Minnesota, really good hitting lefties. Good call, Daniel. Appreciate you guys watching the show. Make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're with us every single day. Make sure you never miss a live. Love talking sports with you guys. I hope you guys know, highlight of my day is doing this research with you guys, talking sports with you. I did put out on my Instagram story, I asked for feedback, and I did get some great pieces, some notes from you guys. We will talk more parlays. We'll talk more 2- and 3-leg parlays because you guys asked about that. I've already done that during the show. We are going to be doing some fantasy football shows where we're going to do some mock drafts and other things. That will be coming out in the next few days as well. Once we have the schedule released for the NFL, we'll be doing some fantasy football mock drafts. We are always going to be looking at different stats. So if you guys care about, a number of you guys said you care about RBIs, we'll always look at that kind of stuff. I tend to not bet those, but if you guys care about it, you just have to ask about it during the show. So we love getting feedback from you. And one last thing, one of our loyal viewers actually said they'd love for viewers to be able to join the show as a guest. You guys are more than welcome to do that. If any of you guys have enough followers on TikTok and you want to join the show, you can come on at any time. If you guys request to join the show live, more than happy to have you guys come on. So feel free. If any of you guys have enough followers and want to come on, ask a few questions, rant about something, I'm more than happy to quote-unquote take callers. So feel free to participate in that. Maribast, yes. Vancouver's the Canucks over 5.5. I love it. Diego, Myles Garrett to get 4.5 sacks versus a weak Cowboys offensive line. Kind of an interesting take. Four feels a little bit high to me. I think I'll take my over half a sack bet. That's usually a better play. Jose, Chiefs -3, Ravens opening night. So Lamar Jackson is one of the best underdogs in the NFL, especially obviously during the regular season. I believe actually he's something like 18-0-2 against the spread as an underdog in the regular season. So if you told me right now that you're taking Chiefs -3, I have no problem. I'd probably buy it up, but I'll take the Ravens at +4.5. That feels like the play for me, especially given the Ravens have a really good roster. They added to it. I think they're going to be primed to come out and kick the defending champions in the mouth, where I think the Chiefs wouldn't be surprised if they got off to a bit of a slower start with the Ravens and the Bengals in weeks 1 and 2. How about Breanna Stewart? Red light, I'm just not going to bet WNBA for the first night. That's actually kind of a rule I make for all sports. I like to usually have a couple games under our belt just because there's a lot of newness. So the data that we have from the last previous season doesn't mean as much. So I usually like to give each season a couple of games before I start to bet on it. Jose, I'm not taking Red Sox on the money line. Just don't have enough faith in them. They burned me yesterday. And frankly, the pitching matchup, I know Nick Pivetta against Aaron Savali should favor the Red Sox. But Jose, if you want to take Red Sox money line, ballparkpal.com backs it. So ballparkpal.com does believe in Red Sox money line. I can't. I'm not a believer. Appreciate you guys being with us. If you guys want my bets for free, DM me on Instagram, Butt Fumble Sports. DM me on Instagram to get every bet that I make every single day. So make sure you guys are DMing me right now on Instagram to get every bet that I make every single day. Really quick, I do want to go through some of my favorite over half a hit plays for the day. Some of my favorite over half a hit plays. So we're going to touch on that. First place I want to go is actually to that Yankee game. Chris Paddock, Anthony Rizzo, Juan Soto. Juan Soto has 3 at-bats against Chris Paddock in his career. Juan Soto has 3 at-bats all-time in his career against Chris Paddock. Small sample size. He has 2 home runs in those 3 at-bats. He has 6 RBIs. Right now, I would absolutely take Juan Soto over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. I'd take him over half a hit if you could find it. I think it's moved in a lot of places, but certainly something that has my attention. What about Carlos Rodon? Carlos Santana has great stats against Carlos Rodon. Carlos Santana, 13 at-bats against Rodon, a .462 batting average. So Carlos Santana over half a hit is one we really like. I'm going to put that one up on the board. We haven't put up any player prop bets for baseball just yet, but Carlos Santana over half a hit. And it's not just against Rodon that he hits well against. He has a hit in his last 4 straight games, specifically against right-handed pitchers. He has a hit in 7 of his last 10 games at home. He has a hit in 7 of his last 9 games against a right-handed starter. I like Carlos Santana to get a hit today against Carlos Rodon. Going to another game on the schedule, I'm going to jump on over to the Astros-A's game. This one, probably not going to surprise you where I come down on this. Jose Altuve absolutely rakes against JP Sears. Oh, sorry, not Jose Altuve. Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker rakes against JP Sears. Kyle Tucker is hitting .300 against him with 2 home runs in 10 at-bats. Additionally, though, Kyle Tucker actually hits lefties at times better than righties. He's hitting .297 against lefties. So with that said, really like this stat here. Asheville, did I say Rodon was a righty? I meant to say Santana hits him well and hits lefties well. So thank you for correcting me. But about Kyle Tucker hits lefties well. Kyle Tucker's facing JP Sears, who hits lefties well. I'm putting that on the board. Kyle Tucker over half a hit. Kyle Tucker over half a hit. That's the next MLB player prop bet that's making our big board. Any others that we have our eye on? Jumping over to the Mariners game. Logan Gilbert has a tough time with Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby Witt Jr., 9 at-bats against Logan Gilbert, .556 average, 1 home run, 2 RBIs. Bobby Witt Jr., you can get him at over half a hit. This is definitely one that's for parlays, but Bobby Witt Jr., over half a hit. That's another MLB player prop bet making the board. Ben, we are taking Knicks on the money line. We already had that one. Diego, Dodgers, Orioles, Braves, Reds, Padres, Rays, money line parlay. Rooting for you, Diego. Rooting for you, buddy. Jennifer likes Dalton Varsho and Willie Castro over half a hit. I love it. Make sure you guys are sending us your favorite bet every day. DM us your favorite bet no matter the sport and be a part of our Celebrity Shot contest. Every day, the person who gets it right goes on the leaderboard. If you get the most wins in the month of May, you win anything from our store, whatever you guys want. It is one item, but whatever you guys want. So make sure you guys are participating in that. I do like the Padres on the money line. That one is going up on the big board as well. If you took it at -1.5, would not hate on it. Guys, I am going to wrap up our show right now because I got to run off to a dinner. But that said, I have so enjoyed our time together as always. I hope you guys have as well. If you guys ever have any questions, comments, feedback, DM me on Instagram. I love hearing from you. Additionally, make sure that if you want every bet that I make every day, I give them away for free. I post them on my Instagram story, but if you miss them, and even more of them are on the SHARPZ app. DM me, you get access to the SHARPZ app for free. Can see every bet that I'm making, regardless of the sport, the type of odds. I will never get a pick past you if you follow me on the SHARPZ app. DM me on Instagram to get every bet that I made today and every single day. Stay healthy, stay safe, enjoy all the sports tonight, from the NBA to the WNBA to the NHL to the MLB. Make sure that you guys are enjoying this time, because life doesn't get better than a full night of sports, everybody. Can't wait to see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll see you then. Goodbye, everybody.